Welcome back to my channel and for my July plan with me. I know this video is a little late. It's been super hot in California. There's been like a crazy heat wave, and I'm also going to apologize in advance if my audio does not sound amazing. I have a fan running, I have the AC running. But anyway, this video is a long time coming. This is my July theme. I kind of want to do like a cottagecore theme, and then I thought of Super Mario because of the mushrooms. And I randomly have some mushroom stickers, so I just decided to combine everything. It's not what I quite envisioned, but I think it still came out okay in the end. So first I'm going to be starting my quote page and my cover page. If you watched my videos previously, I generally don't make quote pages. I don't really need them. I don't find them useful, even though I like quotes, words, books, and all that. But for the things that I printed out to collage in, it ended up being way smaller than I planned, and I didn't really feel like printing it again. And so this was supposed to be a double page cover. Instead, it's just my usual single page. Rather than reordering everything, I just decided to put a quote on the left side. And so I took some craft paper. This is actually leftover packaging from a package. It was a really nice color and it was really thin, so I liked that. So I decided to just use material that I had because I wanted it to be kind of like this two-tone thing. I'm putting the black dot grid paper in the middle and then layering it with craft paper on the bottom and top. And then I'm ripping the overlaying edges. It just makes it look a little more interesting rather than just straight lines. There's also a slight fold in these because again these were packaging, so I just used my glue pen to tape it. For the actual quotes, I stamped them on scrap paper that I had, so craft paper and white dot grid paper, and I used my stamp set. I did not record this because I was trying to do things. The setup was actually pretty long and I knew the video was going to be really long, so I decided to just exclude the stamping part. I really liked how this looked because it kind of looks like line poetry without having the separate lines. And then you'll see here that I have a bunch of scrapbook paper. I've had these for a few years now, and some of them have interesting quotes on them, like they're about like science and Christianity and the Bible, which I don't know, I find those very strange to paste in to my journal. I'm someone who can't really ignore the words. I know some people just are fine with that. So I decided to print on them. This was actually something I saw on TikTok. Someone printing on old book pages, like from a damaged book. I decided to do that with my scrapbook paper for the ones that I don't like. So it was another way to repurpose them. So I printed a bunch of Super Mario related images on those words, and I just taped the scrapbook paper on a regular piece of paper and ran it through my printer. It was actually pretty easy, and I got it mostly centered the first time, and so I just did another run just in case on a slightly lighter colored paper, and I think that actually turned out better. So if I do this again, I'll make sure to pick a lighter color. And so then I cut out my little toad. I like toad. So I put in there and added a mushroom sticker because that's his thing. To add a little more decoration to this page, I took a stencil I had to make these sparkles and then added a few more little accents along the page. Like I circled and underlined some words on the quote just to add a little more extra emphasis. Of course, the page that I did not plan for originally is the one that ended up being my favorite. I was telling my sister that, and she was saying it was probably because I didn't overthink it. And that's probably true. I didn't really have time to dwell, plan on it. I just kind of made it in the moment. And I think that's probably what I need to do more often. I really love how the white gel pen looks on the craft paper. And all the supplies that I use will, of course, be in the description box. And so I just took a pair of scissors and cut along the edges just to cut the excess paper off. I'm actually not really great at this. There's still some excess even after doing this, which I'm okay with, but sometimes it does look kind of funny. And now I'm taking more craft paper and covering the right side for the cover. Instead of cutting this one in half, I decided to use the whole sheet that I opened up and pasted in since it fit the A5 size. I took a glue stick here just so it was easier to add glue on. I don't know where my glue tape is. Usually I would be using that. I also like that because this craft paper material, packaging material is pretty thin, it also adds wrinkles and texture when I paste it in. And yes, I do know that there are those 2 holes in the paper, and I'm actually going to be covering them up with other things that I'll be using to create the collage. I originally thought of creating like a cottagecore-esque theme, and I know a lot of things are like beiges, browns, nature woods, mushrooms, and like I do not like mushrooms really. I generally do not eat them. If they're there, okay. And I just don't really care for those as stickers. That's like a motif. So I thought it would be a more creative way to use it with Super Mario, which is something that I like. Like many other 90s kids, I played Super Nintendo. I played the original Marios, which were before my time. I had an N64. I had other devices. I did not buy any gaming sets during 2020 and beyond because I knew I would just get sucked in. But it's definitely nostalgic, and I watched the new movie, which I actually ended up really enjoying. So I thought it'd be fun to do this theme, and it was a nice opportunity to print things out and try collaging that way. All these images I found on Pinterest. They are not mine, so yeah, please don't sue me. I don't make money off of this channel, thanks. So I decided to do it as like one of the game screens with the different levels and hills, and then you have, I always call it like a Venus flytrap, I'm probably wrong. And then you have Mario on the different brick bars, and one of them is like the question box. And then there's clouds, because there's always clouds, and some coins. And that's what he's jumping for. And then for the July, I also printed a bunch of headers out using a retro looking font that I found on dafont.com. They're always free to use for personal use, and so that's what I'm doing here. And to match the left side, I added a couple accents with the white gel pen, which I really like because I think it pops against the craft paper. And I kind of feel like it still gives that cottagecore vibe with the text and the old school looking paper. I thought it was a good way to use scrapbook paper that otherwise I would not be using because I didn't really like what it said, and it doesn't really relate to the random themes that I create. So moving on is my calendar page, and this is probably the first difference that you'll see in my mid-year. This is probably the first change that you'll see in this setup for Q3. One of the things that I'm changing mid-year is that I'm bringing the full calendar back. I know in the next couple months, not July actually, but in the next couple months, there'll be more things to keep track of, some trips, events, and then October it gets really busy because of Halloween and fall season activities. I feel like I need a bigger calendar than my single page horizontal ones that I've been doing. And so that's what I decided to set up here. And then you'll see I picked colors from the Super Mario palette, but I picked more muted versions. And then I'm adding different washi tape, and I'll be adding more scrapbooking elements again to continue to tie the theme together. While I liked those single page ones, it kind of felt cramped, and I don't know, just it being horizontal, I found it harder to look at the calendar. I'm not sure why. And then I'm pasting in these printed letters for the days of the week. I thought I added a little more scrapbooky element here and made it stand out. And also I didn't have to use my ugly handwriting. In hindsight, I wish I printed all of my headers, like my smaller headers as well, on craft paper, but I already was halfway through this, so I just went ahead. And then I took more of my scrapbooking elements here, added Toad again because he's my favorite. And then I added a few other elements with washi tapes, little fun whimsical mushroom stuff. I actually found this printy that was like vintage Super Mario, which was what I was looking for. And so I just printed out a couple little images from that. So you have like the other little characters, obstacles like the bomb or Ba-Bomb and Chompy, and so I thought that'd be fun. And then the little flower. On the left side, I created 2 boxes. The top one will be for this month's tasks that I need to complete, and then the bottom will be things I need to buy, refills, and things I knew I was starting to run out of and I need to get it replaced. Putting my monthly tasks and things to buy back on this page of the calendar is a big difference from what I've been doing throughout the year. Those things have been going on week 1's weekly spread. So overall, that whole spread is a big change. And now we're moving in to my Q2 check-in, my Q3 goals spread. I made the format pretty similar to the one in April, where I'm going to look at things that I should stop, continue, keep, or change. So I'm going to go through my goals from Q2 to see what I've accomplished so far. I probably didn't do a lot of that just with how things happen between like getting really busy with work and stuff like that. And then below that, I'm going to be putting my habit trackers for the next 3 months. I debated putting this with my calendar, like just putting the dots in the calendar, but I really like being able to see them next to each other. It's also nice that I set them up once every 3 months, and then I can just continue to fill them in. I'm just blacking out the squares which are not part of that corresponding month. And so each column will be for 1 month, and then each row will represent the habit. I generally have been tracking the same habits all year, which is moving around, exercising, my skincare, and reading. And I actually think I have been getting better with some of these habits. Some months not so good, like moving around. I had colds like at the beginning of winter, or reading. Sometimes it's like a really busy month for work. I didn't have a lot of time to read or just have energy for that. Or I wouldn't let myself read because then I'll stay up late, and that's hard too. Moving on to the Q3 goals, I'm adding Yoshi, who's also one of my favorites, and I had these really cute cherry stickers, so I decided to use that. And I actually really like how this came out with the washi tape and the sticker layering on top. I also like this theme because I ended up using a lot of stickers I wouldn't be using normally, so I've just been finding really great uses for them, which is really exciting to use your stickers. And then I'll come back and make those tables. I was just running out of time, and it was really hot when I was recording this, so I was just trying to get through this. But yeah, what's changed from my last check-in spread is that I do not have the future log. I tried to do that for every 3 months, and I just didn't like it. I don't like when I write things out of order, or sometimes things get canceled or moved around. And so I think I'm just gonna keep that in my phone or on a month-to-month case. I did start creating a future log in Excel, just a quick little sheet I could fill out, but I don't know how often I'm going to keep track of that one as well. So I may be just moving that to digital tracking. And then another change is a brand new spread that I haven't done before ever, and it's the books I read spread. I've been watching a lot of reading journal videos, and they're so fun to look at, and like how people decorate them, the stats that they track, what books they read, and their opinions. And while I'm not going to create a whole separate reading journal, I think I'm going to start creating at least this books I read spread monthly. You'll see in my 2024 setup, I do have a reading stats and overall a books I read spread for the whole year, but I want to do a month by month. I do like these book covers that everyone always prints out, so I did that for myself. Unfortunately, my printer printed everything weird. The yellow ink was really off, so things are discolored, but I didn't really want to print it again. So I'm just going to use them. And so since this is for June and July, I've already read 3 books in June. Actually, 2 books in June and then 1 in July, so that was rom-comers. And then I'm using my rating star stickers here as well to put in the ratings. I actually think I flipped the Legend Lattes rating and the everyone in my family killed someone, but that's okay. The rom-comers was, I don't know, I was very disappointed. I don't think I'm going to read more of her books. And then on this page, I decided to put in Peach and Bowser, and then Mario will be there with this flag. And I also had a bunch of green mushrooms that I printed out for a weekly spread, so I decided to just add one here as well. In addition to the books I read, the other things I'm going to track is book of the month, my average rating for that month, total pages, and genre, and then kind of a TBR, but books I'll maybe read next. One thing I didn't think about was these books that are maybe next are the ones that are up on my Libby right now, and they're for July. So technically this maybe next should be for August. So I kind of messed that up, and I didn't realize that until after I made it. But I think moving forward, since I'll be only making a spread for each single month, I think I'll have a better handle on it, and I'll make this later in the month as well. And then just adding some more accents, just because there's a lot of white space and I wasn't sure what else to do. And I'll come back and fill these in as I read more. And finally, we're at my weekly spread. So each week's spread is going to look like this format. I only set up week 1 in the interest of time and energy. So this first one is for the first week of July. I'm going to be adding the stars that, you know, Mario catches and gets like immunity and like superpowers from as the little decoration. I decided I wanted to try out a simple spread like this because I don't realistically write a very long task list. Realistically, I don't write a very long task list, so I don't need a huge box. But I don't like doing it vertically because while I write small, I do not write super tiny. So this is actually pretty quick to set up. And then it felt pretty empty with just these rows and columns. So I decided to add some washi tape as well to the top. And I wanted to do something a little contrasting that also still had the yellow element. So I used the same washi tape that I used for Peach over here too. This is actually a washi tape that I don't really use either, so I'm glad I found another purpose for it. And that's my July and Q3 setup. While it didn't totally turn out the way I envisioned it, I really love how the cover and quote page turned out. I think the calendar looks nice. The quarter check-ins actually look really nice and clean. I kind of messed up on the books I read spread, but it's a learning for next time. And then I have my super simple weekly spreads. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the changes I've made for the second half of this year. And if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe for more. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.